Good morning, good morning, good morning. What is up, folks? It is Tuesday, June the 3rd. JT back with the FOMO live streams. I hope you guys are excited. I'm happy to be back. I appreciate everybody's uh, patience. Wait a second. There we go. I didn't realize I had Discord on mute, probably from joining one of Chris's live streams. All right, let's try this again. Good morning, good morning, good morning. What is up, folks? JT is back with another FOMO live stream this morning. I hope everybody has been well while I have been tied up dealing with a massive office relocation that just absolutely consumed my life for the last several weeks. But we are on the tail end of it. There's light at the end of the tunnel. I am starting to have the time that I used to have to focus on charts and share ideas and thoughts with you all as we head into the second half of 2025. So let me get my screen sharing going here before I start digging into anything. There we go. Let me get the chat open. Let me get my windows tightened up here so I can see the YouTube convos as well. Just a moment. All right. So, get this in that spot there. Let me get this chat open. All right. So, let's catch up on things. Stream still running. That sounds good. So let's dig in here. What are we looking at here on ES? How are things moving? Man, I guess people forgot about what's up, Chris. Good morning to you, brother. Hope you're doing well. We need to get the word out that these are starting back up again. Get some folks in here and get going. And good morning to our friends on YouTube. Hope you all are doing well also. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it very much. All right, so let's start to dig in a little bit. I appreciate you being here early, crypto shit. Good morning. Good to see you. What are we looking at here on ES? Let's kind of get a vibe for how the market is moving from a kind of general big picture perspective. We like to do this through the lens of ES. And then we'll go through and talk about some of the top ticker trade plans that I just posted on Sunday. And then we will work on some new trade plan requests live here together on the FOMO live stream. So with that being said, let's dig in. Let's go. So what's up, Sean? Good morning to you. So what are we looking at here on ES? We're looking at exactly what we were expecting to happen, even though I wasn't around to kind of talk folks through it very much. We had this plan in place. We were looking for some kind of confirmation of a break over 57.40.75 on ES with an ultimate price target of 59.80.75. Sure enough, we got that gap up. Quick little back test, little dip just below, and ultimately pushed all the way up and did hit our ultimate price target up there at 59.80. And that's where we saw a pretty big pullback. Again, I wish I had been around to kind of talk you all through this a little bit more, but I gave you all the levels. Make sure that when I provide these that you all are kind of documenting this stuff on your end. We do have the trade plan navigator indicator that is free to all Xtrades members. That makes your life a little bit easier. There's a tutorial for it, all that stuff. Also, Chris, I know that I still owe you a follow-up on trying to figure out why you're having some issues with, I think, the charts updating to reflect the inputs. So we'll get that figured out now that I have a little bit of my life back that is not being just totally consumed by dealing with contractors and vendors and trying to make sure that all of my employees are good to go and up and running in our new space. So with that being said, like we were talking about, we were looking for that break over 57.40.75. We got that gap above, back test, ran all the way up to our ultimate price target there for ES while I was away. We saw a big pullback from there. Came pretty close to a retest of that 57.40, but didn't quite make it. Bounced a little bit early, so that's fairly bullish. That's a higher low there, and pushing higher. Did print a higher high but pretty steep pullback over that. Maybe a little bit of a bear trap, or sorry, bull trap. Got to get got to get my legs back under me and remember all my terminology that it feels like I haven't used in forever after only 3 weeks. A little bit of a bull trap potentially up there. That's definitely a bit of a reversal doji happening, but nice catch by NTS right there at the key buy level and pushing higher, making higher lows from there. So overall, I'd say things are looking fairly bullish. There is, I'm just now seeing a potential. Yeah, we're testing it this morning, so it'll be very interesting to see how this plays out. This would be the third touch and confirmation if we do ultimately reject this kind of hypothetical, I would call it, trend line right here at this point. Um, but keep an eye on that. If we do push above that, I wouldn't be surprised to see another test of 59.8075. And if we get a good break above and back test, we see some support at 59.8075. I think it opens up all these levels overhead, and we maybe make an attempt at current all-time highs on ES. So all-time highs are slightly higher than this, but I think this is where the real level's sitting at. There's a little wick that taps just above that. But I think that's the key level there at 62.1325 that we'll want to watch to see if the market really does want to break out and grind higher from here. So keep that on watch. But yeah, great catch there by NTS on that pullback long signal. We got the flag to flip, pull back to the key buy support, buy pressure level. That's a great entry opportunity, and you could have taken that up for about 100 plus points there on ES. So good morning to everybody who has just joined. I appreciate y'all making it in here this morning. Please feel free to say hello, start dropping any questions or ticker requests that you guys have for me. Feeling nuclear sector today, but not sure. Yeah, I'm still kicking myself about, Oklo because, again, I was watching it at about $18 and I just didn't pull the trigger on that dip. Markets were still looking a little too tentative, but when you're buying shares, it's kind of just start loading and keep adding if you see more good buying opportunities from there. So yeah, we'll come up with a good plan. Yeah, thank you very much, Veritas. I'm glad to be back. It was a challenging few weeks there for me, but I survived, and we're getting back into the swing of things. I'm knocking the rust off a little bit here, so bear with me if I'm not totally on my game, but it won't take me very long to get back up to speed and catch up on where exactly things are at from a technical standpoint. So we're ready to start executing and making some money on our trades here. So let's get into it. Let's talk about some of these top ticker trade plans that I posted. We had Google that I posted on Sunday. This one did a nice job of holding the put entry as support yesterday. Still overall looks pretty bearish on the smaller time frames, with that said, but that put entry has held down there at 167.63. Let me adjust this a little bit. Should be about there. There we go. Held at 167.63 there. Overall, from an indicator standpoint, though, momentum is looking a bit bearish at the moment. We've got bearish sell pressure and bearish momentum here on NTS on the 15-minute 200 crossing below the 333. So I'd be watching this one for potential downside opportunity if we do get a confirmed break of 167.63. That hasn't happened yet, but certainly something that we'll want to keep on watching. This was Google was identified by our AI algorithm that is providing the top analysts at Xtrades with top tickers for us to focus on and provide you guys with our input on. So Google was on that list, which is why I did this trade plan for it. So make sure that you're watching that top tickers channel. And also I'm feeding these alerts into the main chats, as you guys know. So those will help you identify when it is time to start paying attention to those charts. For anybody using TradingView, again, I can't emphasize this enough. Make sure that you are using the alert functions in TradingView to your advantage. And here we see Google trying to give us a confirmed break below here. I was just talking about how it looked bearish and things are setting up to potentially play out to the downside, and it started dumping almost as soon as I mentioned it. I guess maybe the market knows I'm back. So, Google, again, watching this one for a confirmed break, preferably a confirmed break and back test 167.63, and then we'll see it possibly continue further down to the downside. But again, right now we're seeing buyers still stepping in, not confirming anything below 167.63 yet, but just keep it on watch. Next, we had AMD. Let me get this chart set up the right way. AMD did give us a nice break yesterday. Broke above, quick little back test, seems to be pushing higher. NTS putting the sell pressure on it right there. High a day yesterday just below, and our pre-market high seems to be struggling with that sell pressure, so not too surprising there. But VWAP seems to be grinding to the upside and holding as support, so we could see this finish the move at least to PT1 before we see some kind of pullback. That's what I would like to see, because it would make sure that people are locking profits on this plan. One thing I would say though is if you got a good entry on this yesterday, I would certainly book some profits at open, even though we aren't quite to PT1 yet. NTS sitting right there on the hourly just gives me some concern that this may be the top and we may not finish the move to PT1. So just keep that in mind. Let's take a look at this on a slightly smaller time frame though before we go getting too bearish. One time frame is not enough perspective to really gain good insight, in my opinion. 15 minutes looking pretty strongly bullish, I would say. Yeah, I mean, I'd still, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. If you've got some profits, maybe close a few contracts and make sure you're moving your stops up. Don't let a green trade go red. Hopefully we will see this finish the move up to 115.85 though. So that is the AMD trade plan. And then we had, what was it, Marvel, I think it was. And Marvel has been flat within our range, hasn't given us any opportunities to enter yet. This one is grinding higher. There is a nice trend line below that it does continue to work off of. But I would still, I think it could go either way still at this point. So unless you happen to catch that dip early into the day yesterday, which I doubt, at least based on my plan, there was no reason to do that. So if you did that, great job. You spotted something that was outside of the plan. But 63.52 is still a key level that I'd be watching for this to break above. And again, preferably give us a break above, quick back test, and then push higher on through some of our call price targets. So those are our top ticker trade plans and where they're sitting at. Again, these alerts will continue to go into the main options chat. So as you see those alerts, make sure to click the link where it says trade plan posted here and see what the plan is set up. Take those levels, put them on your chart so it's a little bit easier for you to follow without having to constantly refer back to a static chart in the Discord. That would be my best advice I can give you all when it comes to following these trade plans. All right. So let's see what we've got here. You said, yeah, I did. And yeah, I know. Chris on the Oklo. It's a stinger. All right, give me some tickers to work with, guys. What are you guys watching? What do you want to take a look at? What do you want to analyze this morning? Mike, I see you asking what's the level that we should watch SPY for upside. I will definitely give you that information when we post the SPY plan this morning right after this live stream wraps up. So you'll have that like you do just about every day. There was a couple of days where I just absolutely had too many things to juggle around pre-market and market open with the move that I just didn't feel confident in anything that I was going to write up and post at that point. I felt like it was kind of phoning it in, and I don't want to, I don't want to put people in a bad spot. I'd rather just, sit on the sidelines and not post a trade plan versus posting a half-baked trade plan. So that's just my approach. Patience is key. Market will always be here tomorrow, unless it's the weekend, and then market will be here Monday. So, 2 week for options for this plans. Or yeah, if we're talking about the SPY plans, which are kind of written up for day trades essentially, I would say, yeah, 2 weeks is a good amount of time to have on those contracts for sure. Obviously, you could trade them with shorter expirations, but the shorter expiration, the higher the risk, obviously. That goes a little bit without being said, but I said it anyway. So, but for the top tickers and member selected tickers and all that sort of stuff, kind of the bigger picture trade plans that could wind up being swings essentially that aren't really built up specifically for day trades. I would say those get at least 30 days, preferably 60 or more. It just kind of makes things a little bit easier. Um, Less concern over theta and flat days and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, I always advocate for having as much time as you can possibly afford without oversizing your positions when it comes to trading options, because you don't want time to be the factor that kills your trade if the trade plan is still valid, right? So I've got a couple of requests, actually confirming requests from Veritas and JJ Go, both wanting to take a look at UNH this morning. So let's take a look at that. I am a UNH shareholder. I've been loading that one. I did mention that um, in the chats that I was starting to buy that up. I forget. Let's take a look at I forget what it is. Let me take a look. I've added twice to this. I had my initial buy and then added a little bit on a deeper dip the following day. What is my So I'm in at an average of about 276.60 on UNH currently on my share position. But let's take a look at the chart. It would certainly be a good one for us to take a look at. I think it will recover long term. So let's get a sense of what we should be watching here on UNH. In the meantime, folks, feel free to ask any other questions, drop other ticker requests. I will get through as much as I possibly can until we get about 10 to 15 minutes out from market open, at which point I will have to shift over and start working on the daily SPY plan. So all my drawings are hidden. Hidden there. Or although all just at much higher levels. That's what it is. I was like, wait a second, that doesn't seem right. All right, let me clean this chart up real quick. Bear with me. My apologies. Keep that trend here. There. Don't like that. This trading view organization structure. It's like if you select too many things, it doesn't operate. All right. Group there. What just happened? Where did that group go? Okay. Once again. Just makes managing these levels a little bit easier. I'll hide that for now. Okay, so let's get to the nitty gritty. I didn't have any levels down here anyway on UNH, so let's start to build some up and get an idea of how we're going to set ourselves up for success and be prepared for almost any eventuality with UNH. Once we get these levels in, we've got kind of the base that we need to then, that we can then use to build our trade plan off of. So always find your supports and resistances first and foremost, and then start to build your plans from there. Support and resistance is the key to how I personally trade, and then I layer other things on top of that to find confluences and find the best setup opportunities that will have buyers and or sellers stepping in. That is also why pretty much every trade plan I do includes an upside and a downside plan. If we're going to take the time to develop a trade plan and analyze a ticker, we should be ready to play it whichever direction it decides to go. I try not to interject really any bias into the trade at any point. That's, having an upside and a downside plan helps you totally avoid any significant trade bias. So just follow the charts once you've established the plan is kind of my motto. All right, that looks pretty good from a weekly standpoint. Let's dig into some of these smaller time frames. We're gonna have to go back in time a little bit here to find, let's get some more real estate on the screen. Find some of these daily levels, and let's zoom in a little bit. It seems like made up stuff when we're that zoomed out, but that's just how I've gotten used to looking for my support and resistance levels. But as you get on smaller time frames, I do like to dial it in, zoom it in a little bit, make sure that you're really catching things as accurately as possible, because sometimes, you know, a dollar can be the difference between getting stopped out or staying in the trade, or getting into a trade that ultimately works out, or knowing when it's a good time to take profits and perhaps nailing the move completely. Kind of like what we did with ES, even though I wasn't around to A, profit from it, and B, share insights as we made our way through those levels. My plate was beyond full. Looked like a fat kid at Golden Corral. Right, go like that. Let's see, two. All right, I think that gives us plenty to work with up in that range. Let's take a look at some of these lower levels, though. I do want to find out where these are, because, again, we want to be prepared either to know when it's time to cut the trade or when it's time to uh, perhaps go short, get into puts. Um, so having all the levels mapped out is key for that to happen. All right, let's see back. And I do want to mention one thing, and this is actually kind of a question that I get a lot, so I'm going to mention this real quick. One question I get a lot is, how far back in time should I go when I'm trying to find my support and resistance levels? The answer is, as long as you're within a reasonable range of the current price and you think those levels could be tested, as long as there's price data there, go back as far as you need to, right? So UNH is now, or at least has recently come close to some of these levels from back in 2018. So, notice that we are looking at 2018 candlesticks to find support and resistance levels that we may use for our trade plan here in 2025. So, a lot of times history is a great teacher on how to be prepared to trade things moving forward. All right, so let's start to dial this in a little bit. I'm going to fast forward. Let's get to the hourly. I want to start throwing my indicators on the chart so I can find my confluences now. So where do we want to take a shot at, if you're not already long on UNH, going long? Or if you are already long, going longer? There is an interesting level here that also coincides with the NTS key cell level here on the hourly chart. I think that there is a pretty decent move that opens up above this. I would say probably at least to this weekly level, with the 333 coming down, giving things some time. It could wind up being a confluence with the 333 coming right there at 323.41 that we identified on the weekly chart. So I think that makes sense for a first price target. Then we start to get into this fair value gap. And this is an interesting level that I don't know if we'll have price data available. Let's see. On the hourly chart, I don't know how far back we're going to have to go on UNH to see. Let's tighten this up. Fast forward this a little bit. Yeah, we may not. Let's see. It's getting close. Okay, now we do have some help. So can we confirm a level near the spot that I'm looking at? Could be right about here, I think. Let's see how that stacks up with where I was looking here. It's pretty close. Close enough, I would say. So let's use that 334.50. That'd be a second price target. And then definitely we had a nice quick flip of support to resistance there. So certainly 345.04 I would use as a third price target on UNH for anything kind of short-term swings. Obviously, this could go much, much higher in the longer term, but generally speaking, I try to set these plans up for, at the most, we're holding these for a couple of weeks. Stop loss average down on this Yeah, I would definitely use this weekly level down here at 394. Nice bounce off it there, low a day yesterday. So if we get a confirmed break over 309.86 and then somehow break back below 394, I'm not too interested in holding UNH much longer. What's up, Shinobi? Good morning. Good morning. I appreciate your kind words. I am happy, happy, happy to be back. It was a very challenging few weeks there for JT, but I survived. It's probably as optimistic as I could be about it. And you know, the new offices are fantastic. Everybody's finally getting settled in, and we're getting back into the swing of things. So it is good to be back. That is for sure. I've missed you guys oh so much, guys and gals. Sorry, I missed everybody. I know we got some lady traders in the mix, so I don't want to leave them out. All right, so this downside trade plan, yeah, stop loss would be here. I'm already liking that 288.89 as a put entry. I think that will open up room to about 275.52. And I think it's going to be a quick PT1 and PT2 because we do have this nice low that got carved out. And another, so like I said, quick PT1 and 2, but nice room down there to PT1. And beyond that, let's see. We're going to go zoom out a little bit. Let's take a look. Let's see what I can find down. Yep, sure, we can take a look at snow. And what's up, Brian? Good to 294. What did I say? No, 296.35, 288.89 entry. We're talking about the downside for UNH. Where is this level? Yeah, you know what? I think it is this daily level right here at 259.49. I think that makes for good. Whoops. Third price target. Yep, that's pretty close to what I was thinking anyway. Okay, cool. So let's get this set up for success. Let's break out the trade plan. You guys have the navigator. I have the pilot because it's got some extra stuff like how to feed the alerts into Discord that you guys just don't need to worry about. 450 and 345.04 with a stop loss average down at 394. Put entry at 288.89, PT1 275.52, then 269.45, on down to 259.49 with a stop loss average down at 296.35. So that all looks good. That all looks good. That doesn't need to be that far out. All right, so let's pop this on the chart. Let's clean this up to make it easier for y'all to see. Go. Let me adjust this Y offset just a little bit because this is a higher dollar ticker. Probably need there we go. Should be legible. Okay, so here is our UNH trade plans. First one in many weeks. It feels so good to be sitting here working on charts instead of dealing with a bunch of bullshit. And then let's get this over into the Elite Xtrades chat at everyone. All right, and then let's get our link. Let's get this onto the regular trading hours chart. Discord link in there. Save my template so I don't forget. Tuesday live stream plan 1. I'm starting to get back into the groove here. Now we set our alerts. Yep. That all looks good. This will fire off every alert in the trade plan navigator. That's one of the nice features of it. It's this any alert function call. Let's let this one go until next Tuesday. We'll give it a full week. Market close. Boom. All right, so we're locked in there. So let's talk through this one last time, just so you all are on the same page with me. Again, alerts will feed into the main options chat. So what are we looking for here on UNH? We're looking for a break over 309.86. That should give us price targets at 323.41, 334.50, and 345.04. The stop loss average down at 394 to the downside. We're looking for a break below 288.89. That should give us targets at 275.52, 269.45, and 259.49 with a stop loss average down at 296.35. Those are your UNH trade plans. Let's go. Let's go get it. All right. So what did we have next? We had SMR from Chris. Let's take a look at that. Need that right now. SMR is not one that I'm familiar with, even though I've been paying a lot of attention to the nuke names. This one, New Scale Power. Obviously, I know they're in the nuclear biz. 52-week high, so we're not far off from that. Good volume. Okay, let's take a look at it. Let's see if it's got any previous. Ooh, this is a fairly new one, too. I mean, been around for a few years, but in the big picture, that's still relatively new. All right, so let's nail down some levels here. Let's get this party started on SMR. Let's see how quickly we can get through this one. Maybe we can get one more. Oops, change the color there. Get one more trade plan in after this, depending on how quickly I can move. But again, little bit of still knocking the rust off. Don't want to get too far ahead of myself, even though it's like riding a bike. Once you've got your strategy, everything down, you can take a vacation and come back and pretty quickly pick up where you left off. My vacation was more of a suckcation. Because moving sucks. I don't know if you think moving a house sucks, try moving a 100-person business. It's a lot. Somebody play the world's smallest violin. All right. That looks good. I think we got a level close to this. Yeah, it's probably right about there. Yeah, good. And this will give us a nice opportunity to work on some trend-based fib extensions. Make sure I haven't forgotten how to do that. I think we got a level here, but it's not quite confirmed on the daily yet. So let's keep an eye on it. We'll also want to mark off this current all-time high. Could be a blue sky breakout on this one. All right, let's dig in. Let's get to some smaller time frames. Let's find our trend for our trend-based fib extensions. I think we're probably, yep, looking at that, and we've already come back and back tested and broken below, so that's confirmed. Oh, where does that live? See, I am rusty. All right, here we go. Really, this is, you could run it to either, actually, so let's go. Longest in. Damn, maybe I do still got it. I haven't totally lost my touch. That's about exactly where I expected it to line up. All right, so we've got some potential resistances overhead here. Let's mark those off. Off the mark there. All right, that all looks good. This is definitely an interesting level on the hourly. Right about here. I think below that puts start to look real interesting. Okay, so how do we want to handle this? Okay, so here's what I'm looking at. I think we're waiting for a breakout, new all-time highs. So a little bit of patience here. PT1, we just start after our fib extensions. I'm going to take a shot that we go for the 0.618, and then we'll probably see a pullback of the 0.5 and push higher if this remains bullish. Third price target, I'd be looking at the 78.6. Stop loss average down there at 35.17. I like that upside trade plan to the downside. I think we are. Actually, let's give it a little bit more confirmation. Let's wait for it to break below 29.57. Below that, have any help back here to confirm this level? I think I do. It should be right about here. How's that stack up with that level I was watching here? Yep, perfect. I like that. Interesting little range there. Let me go back here again. And sometimes you have to use history to your advantage. I think we're looking at a second PT right about here. It's kind of a tight PT1 too. That I'd be willing to bet. I'm not going to change my mind about 2251 being a good third price target. It absolutely is a good third price target. So now the only question left to answer is where should we keep our stop loss average down on this? And I think, yeah, it's right about here at 31.38. That gives it an appropriate amount of room. Kind of a range that we're waiting for this to break out of before it goes upside or downside. You could certainly play within this range. Bounces and rejections, but I wouldn't be looking for strong directional moves until either this call entry or put entry gives way. Get on a confirmed break. There we go. Learn how to use words again. All right, so what are we looking for? We're looking for a break over 36.95, 39.02, 42.42, and 44.76 on this one. Stop loss average at 35.17 to the downside, 29.57, then on to 26.81, 24.91, and 22.51 with stop loss average down at 31.38. So let's clean this chart up. All this junk, not really junk, but not what we need to share the trade plan. And because this is a smaller dollar ticker, we're going to tighten this back up. 3 should be good. Said 0.3 should be good. Listen to me. Did it just reset itself again? Not doing that, bro. Do it this way. Why I didn't like that. There we go. That's better. All right. Looks good. You should be able to read that pretty easily. All right, here is our SMR live stream. I'm doing your ticker right now, bro. Let the phone calls go to voicemail. Just kidding, bud. We all sometimes duty calls. I get it. What's up, Brian? Good morning to you, brother. Hope you're doing well. All right, let's get this posted in the elite chat. So we'll have a link that we can use to set our alerts. And regular trading hours, set the alerts. Not on price, we want Set it on trade plan pilot, any alert function. We don't want to miss but get alerted too often. So we set our 30-minute. Let this go till next Tuesday. Market close. Right. Let me just make sure. Regular trading hour, June 10th, 1600. Good to go. Okay, let's talk through this one last time. What are we looking for here on SMR? We are looking for a break over 36.95. That should give us targets at 39.02, 42.42, and 44.76 with a stop loss average down at 35.17. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 29.57. That should give us targets at 26.81, 24.91, and 22.51 with a stop loss average down at 31.38. Those are your SMR live stream plans. We are about 20 minutes out from market open. I'm going to want a little extra time with the SPY plan this morning, just to make sure that I've got that dialed in, although I did note that yesterday's PT1 for puts was our low of the day and it absolutely launched from there. So plan levels looked solid AF as usual yesterday. I don't think that's even with a multiple week hiatus. I don't think I'll ever lose my touch with SPY. At least I hope not. So let me call it a day. I know we're cutting it maybe a little bit short today, but come back Thursday. I should have more time then. But I'm still kind of, again, sort of getting myself back up to speed on everything, and I could use a little bit of extra time just kind of to focus this morning if you guys don't mind too much. So if you all will do me a favor, come back and join me Thursday morning at 8:30 a.m. I would appreciate that, and I do appreciate you all taking the time to join me this morning. Again, I know it's been a while, but we will get these back on track and doing them every Tuesday and Thursday at 8:30 a.m. your pre-market prep. I'm also going to put together in the not too distant future something either maybe after hours or on a weekend to do just kind of like a general, hey, hit me with your questions. Let's just kind of have a wrap session. Very free form kind of live stream that we'll do for Xtrades members only in our Discord. So if you folks that are watching on YouTube haven't given us a shot and come to check out the Xtrades Discord community, please come check us out and make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. So as we always say here on the FOMO live streams, plan your trades, trade your plans, go out there and get some green, keep those wins big, keep those losses small. Remember, we are aiming for profits, not perfection. Until Thursday, this is JT signing off. I hope you all have a fantastic day. I will see you all Thursday morning and in the chats in the meantime. Till then, take care.